What's up, everyone? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, also the host of Clutch Sports Talk Live. Hey, I got another video for you guys today. I want to be talking about the Jake Paul and Ben Askren Triller fight that took place Saturday night. Now, I got some comments that I want to kind of express to you guys, but before I begin the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that notifications link, and also like and comment down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, everyone? Man, hey. For those who did not know, last night a fight took place in the Mercedes Superdome down in Atlanta, where the Atlanta Falcons play, but it wasn't between any like real prominent or notable professional boxers per se, but the fight took place between Jake Paul and Ben Askren. Now, there were several undercard fights that took place, but none of them were really worth mentioning. But I will say about this is that this was a fight that was put together by Triller. And for those who don't know, Triller put together the Mike Tyson and the Roy Jones fight not that long ago. And that was the infamous fight card that Nate Robinson got knocked the hell out by who? Jake Paul. So fast forward to last night, Saturday, Jake Paul and Ben Askren squared off in the squared circle. That's what they say in boxing, I guess. But I have a lot of reservations and a lot of questions in regards to this whole event. Now, Triller, they're basically trying to sell subscriptions to their Triller fight card package, and now they've joined with the likes of Snoop Dogg and other celebrities to kind of promote this event. Now, from the jump, I was not really that impressed with what was going on. I thought it was a travesty towards boxing, and by no means am I like a super boxing fan. I do watch it. I do enjoy the sport, but I was a little bit disappointed just because of the quality of fights. And then also it'd be for like an hour or so, it was like a music concert with performances by Saweetie, Doja Cat. I know Justin Bieber was there at one point, but for like an hour and a half, I was on Twitter and just reading, different threads, and people were like, well, was there a fight going on? And apparently there was supposed to be a fight, but literally Triller went for like an hour. And just from the jump, Snoop showed up, and we all love Snoop Dogg. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm from the West Coast and I love Snoop Dogg, but it seemed like this time around Triller was really going overboard with having him just do whatever he wants on the live. Now, he was smoking and not cigarettes, but he was smoking some of the sticky icky, as he would say. And he had guys like Pete Davidson. Like, that was so random. Like, what was Pete Davidson doing there? I'm pretty sure, I think he's a prominent, weed smoker as well, which I don't have a problem with that, but it just didn't seem right. And this throughout the whole night, it just really did not sit well with me. And what kind of really took me over the top is that there are actual Hall of Fame and even, reputable boxers that support this type of activity. Oscar De La Hoya showed up on one of the fights. He was a commentator. And I don't know if he was drunk or high, but Oscar De La Hoya did not represent himself well, especially as a Hall of Famer boxer. And I know he's making his comeback into the ring, I believe July 6th. He did not announce exactly who he's fighting against, but he did say he was going to fight the best. Now, I'm not sure who the best is for him at this point. Oscar De La Hoya, I believe, is if not 50 or close to 50. He said he was inspired by Mike Tyson, that Mike Tyson was able to get back in shape and was able to get back in the ring to fight not Evander Holyfield, but Roy Jones. So throughout his commentary, he was slurring a lot. He made up a lot of crazy references that made no sense. And you're thinking to myself as I'm watching this, and mind you, a lot of people paid for this. Now, I was on the other end where I cannot confirm or deny whether or not I paid for it or not, but I was able to watch it. So I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, back to Oscar De La Hoya and this Triller fight card. And, eventually I get to the Jake Paul and Ben Askren fight. But Oscar De La Hoya, man, like, dude, you're a Hall of Fame boxer. You're an Olympic champion, world champion. You've won in so many different weight classes. And then now here you are subjecting yourself to Triller and these random fights between guys that, like, who cares? I think, there was a fight between some type of Colombian artist, musician. I don't know who he was, and maybe I'm just old and I'm not up to date on what's going on, but against who did he fight? Some guy named Joe Fournier, I think he's retired as well too, and I think he's next in line to fight Jake Paul. Who knows? You had old UFC fighters versus old boxers who retired. These guys are like in their 40s. It was just a random night, and I remember watching the first Triller fight card, And not to say that I was like so great in regards to the boxing skill that was taking place in the ring, but I will say that it was more on pace with like a real boxing, event. Fights were, happening often. There wasn't like 20-30 minutes in between each fight where random artists were coming up and performing to a stadium. As a matter of fact, for those who don't know where the Atlanta Falcons play, this isn't like a high school gymnasium. This is a stadium that seats at least 80,000 people, and hosted a Super Bowl. So to have, I don't know, these people up there that performing in front of no one, I can maybe see Justin Bieber performing because he's a big star, but the other performers is kind of like, who cares? And then, like I said, the whole Pete Davidson thing was just so random anyway. So long story short, Oscar De La Hoya finally finishes the fight. It just didn't make any sense. I will say this though, Mario Lopez is pretty knowledgeable about the fight game, so I will give him credit. He might be like the Joe Rogan of boxing per se, and maybe that's of the stretch. But anyway, so he finishes it up. Pete Davidson, meanwhile, is going in between the two locker rooms between Jake Paul and Ben Askren, kissing up to kind of both of them for the most part. He goes into Jake Paul's locker room, doesn't really, he's pretty complimentary, I guess, for the most part. He did say he did bet against Nate Robinson when he knocked the hell out of Nate Robinson. I think Nate Robinson is just waking up. Then he goes over to Ben Askren's locker room and he's like saying, I think Jake Paul is, scum and da 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 da. So it's kind of like, Pete Davidson, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, anyway. So fast forward to the fight. Well, here's the thing. Well, no, I'll finish with that last. Here's the thing about the fight. It didn't last very long. Here's two things about the fight. One, could have been fixed. There's a possibility that the fight could have been fixed. Number two, Ben Askren, it's like, dude, I get it. You're a retired UFC fighter. You're tough as hell. But I don't know if he took the fight seriously. And I'm not saying Jake Paul is a world-class boxer because he hasn't fought any boxers. He's fought guys that are basketball players, washed up UFC fighters, and I believe he might have fought another fellow YouTuber, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, they get in the ring. Jake Paul looks like he's well more prepared, well suited to do battle Saturday night. But Ben Askren I don't think he even landed a punch. So the fight ends in like literally seconds. Ben Askren gets knocked down. He takes a standing 8 count. The ref is like, nah, I'm not feeling it. It's done. So Jake Paul wins the fight, runs out of the ring, jumps up onto the commentary desk with Snoop Dogg and Mario and all those other guys. And, these guys are really leading. And there are some other fight game people that are in this whole event that is just so odd that these guys are reputable boxing experts and they are actually really promoting this. So he hops up on there. Snoop is trying to promote his new alcohol, whatever it is. He couldn't open it, which was another awkward, weird scenario. But anyway, they go to tell him, Jake Paul, you're great. You're the real deal. Who's going to fight you next? Keep doing your thing. And I'm just sitting there like in amazement, like, wow, like they really feel this dude could go up against a professional boxer. And I'm not talking about washed up boxers. Let's be real. I mean, Jake Paul, he did train. He did have, guys in his corner. But let's just be real, man. Like, I think this is a whole mess. I think this is a slap in the face to the boxing game. And anybody that participates in boxing, and I have really good friends that do, I feel like it's a slap in the face to them. Because I think that at this point in time, a lot of people now feel they can just, train for a couple months or so, get in the ring and call themselves a boxer. I don't really know a lot of other sports off the top of my head that you can just kind of come off from the street, prepare a little bit, and call yourself a professional. Now, is it possible? Of course. But I think at this point, Triller, they're just out to sell subscriptions and to make money, which is fine. That's the American way. That's what capitalism is all about. But to me, it's definitely disrespectful. And the fact of the matter is that you have a lot of reputable boxing aficionados really supporting this. And not only do you have a boxing aficionado, Hall of Famers like a Oscar De La Hoya, even Mike Tyson participated in this first one not that long ago. And then you have guys like Ryan Garcia, who's really good friends with the Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and he's backing him up. And Ryan Garcia is an up and coming, he's a world champion at this point. He's one of the best boxers in the sport that we have today. So this leads me to believe at this point in time, if you have a certain amount of followers, anything is possible. And when I say followers, I mean social media following. Because even after all the fights were over, these three sisters that I have no idea who they were handing off, the belt, the Triller belt, to the victor of the bout. And I'm thinking, who are these girls? And a lot of the fighters must have recognized them, probably because they have kids or daughters that know them. And so I'm like, well, who are these people? They don't even matter at this point. So I don't know. I think, it's become a circus, and I really feel bad for the boxing world. Boxing has not been the sport in this country for quite some time, and it looks like it's not ever going to regain that pizzazz, that aura about it. I remember growing up being, watching boxing with my dad. You would turn on HBO or we would buy a pay-per-view, and it was the deal, man. Like, you go over to someone's house, you bring food, everyone chipped in, and now it's kind of like, who cares at this point, And it's sad because boxing is one of the greatest sports here that we do have here in the country and throughout the world. But to see an event like that last night, it didn't make any sense. I didn't know if they were trying to sell weed, were they trying to push alcohol down our throats, and then the weird concerts that took place in between the fights. It was just all over the place. It was, and I watched it, of course, because it's like a car accident. When you're driving on the highway and you see an accident on the other side of the freeway, you cannot help but to look. And when you're looking, you're really like, oh wow, like that's crazy, right? And you can't keep your eyes off it. And I think that's what they were going for last night. And as far as the Jake Paul is concerned, he's not a professional fighter. I think if you line this guy up in front of a real professional boxer, he would get his lights knocked out. He won the fight. It is what it is. I'm not going to disrespect that, but I will challenge the credibility and the validity of his opponents because, like I said, he's not a professional fighter. And if I'm a boxer like a Ryan Garcia or an Oscar De La Hoya, guys of that caliber, it's either they're on the take and they're getting a cut of this, which is a possibility, or it's like, dude, how can you accept someone like this who's making a mockery of a profession that you're trying to come up in, or a profession that you have basically built a whole life around, like Oscar De La Hoya? So this is not the end of it. I think they might make some tweaks. They probably will get a lot of concerns about the music selections and the hour-long concert, which was so random again. But I don't know. I think the boxing game is definitely in trouble. It was very sad to watch it, and I ended up watching it all because I needed to report this, because I don't talk a lot about boxing a lot on my show, but I just thought it was just so concerning that this was actually taking place. And I would be interested to know the bottom line, how much money they made off of this particular event. But it just was a travesty. And I hope that the boxing game really understands that, and guys that are involved in boxing kind of back off away from this, because to me, this thing is going to pick up legs. Why? Because you have legitimate boxing subject experts basically supporting this. So I don't think it's going away. But other than that, man, that's all I got, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Am I way off? Was this a travesty, or was it actually a really good event? So, but make sure you guys, again, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notifications link and like and comment down below. Until next time, everyone, this is Clutch Sports Talk with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Peace out, guys.